Good day, sir. I am Aryani C. Aquino, G2B. Rule number 33. Equipment for sound signals. A vessel of 12 meters or more in length shall be provided with a whistle. A vessel of 20 meters or more in length shall be provided with a bell in addition to a whistle, and a vessel of 100 meters or more in length shall in addition be provided with a gong, the tone and sound of which cannot be confused with that of the bell. The whistle, bell, and gong shall comply with the specifications in Annex 3 to these regulations. The bell or gong or both may be replaced by other equipment having the same respective sound characteristics, provided that manual sounding of the prescribed signal shall always be possible. A vessel of less than 12 meters in length shall not be obliged to carry the sound signaling appliances prescribed in paragraph A of this rule, but if she does not, she shall be provided with some other means with some of making an efficient sound signal. Next is rule number 34, maneuvering and warning signals. When vessels are in sight of one another, a power-driven vessel underway, when maneuvering as authorized or required by these rules, shall indicate that maneuver by the following signals on her whistle. 1 short blast to mean I am altering my course to starboard. 2 short blast to mean I am altering my course to port. 3 short blasts to mean I am operating astern propulsion. Any vessel may supplement the whistle signals prescribed in paragraph A of this rule by light signals repeated as a appropriate whistle the maneuver is being carried out. These light signals shall have the following significance: 1 flash to mean I am altering my course to starboard. 2 flashes to mean I am altering my course to port. 3 flashes mean I am operating astern propulsion. The duration of each flash shall be out 1 second. The interval between flashes shall be about 1 second, and the interval between successive signals shall be not less than 10 seconds. The light used for this signal shall, if fitted, be an all-round white light visible at a minimum range of 5 miles and shall comply with the provisions of Annex 1 to these regulations. When in sight of one another in a narrow channel or fairway, a vessel intending to overtake another shall, in compliance with Rule 9A, 1. Indicate her intention by the following signals on her whistle. 2. Prolonged blast followed by 1 short blast to mean I intend to overtake you on your starboard side. 2. Prolonged blast followed by 2 short blasts to mean I intend to overtake you on your port side. The vessel about to be overtaken, when acting in accordance with Rule 9A1 or AI, shall indicate her agreement by the following signal on her whistle: 1 prolonged, 1 short, 1 prolonged, and 1 short blast in that order. When vessels in sight of one another are approaching each other and from any coast, either vessel fails to understand the intentions or action of the other, or is in doubt with whether sufficient action is being taken by the other to avoid collision, the vessel in doubt shall immediately indicate such doubt by giving at least 5 short and rapid blasts on the whistle. Such signal may be supplemented by a light signal of at least 5 short and rapid flashes. A vessel nearing bend or an area of a channel or fairway where other vessels may be obscured by an intervening obstruction shall sound 1 prolonged blast. Such signal shall be answered with a prolonged blast by any approaching vessel that may be within hearing around the bend or behind the intervening obstruction. If vessels are fitted on a vessel at a distance apart of more than 100 meters, 1 whistle only shall be used for giving maneuvering and warning signals. Next is rule number 35. Sound signals in restricted visibility. In or near an area of restricted visibility, whether by day or night, the signals prescribed in this rule shall be used as follows: a power-driven vessel making me through way through the water shall sound at intervals of not more than 2 minutes, one prolonged blast. A power-driven vessel underway but stopped and making no way through the water shall sound at intervals of not more than 2 minutes to prolonged blast in succession with an interval of about 2 seconds between them. A vessel not under command, a vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver, a vessel concerned by her draught, a sailing vessel, a vessel engaged in fishing, and a vessel engaged in towing or pushing another vessel shall, instead of the signals prescribed in paragraphs A or B of this rule, sound at intervals of not more than 2 minutes, 3 blasts in succession, namely 1 prolonged followed by the 2 short blasts. A vessel engaged in fishing when at anchor, and a vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver when carrying out her work at anchor, shall instead of signal prescribed in paragraph G of this rule sound the signal prescribed in paragraph C of this rule. A vessel towed, or if more than one vessel is towed, the last vessel of the tow, if manned, shall at intervals of not more than 2 minutes sound for blasts in succession, namely 1 prolonged followed by 3 short blasts. When practicable, this signal shall be made immediately after the signal made by the towing vessel. When pushing vessel and a vessel being pushed ahead are rigidly connected in a composite unit, these shall be regarded as a power-driven vessel and shall give the signals prescribed in paragraphs A or B of this rule. A vessel at anchor shall at intervals of not more than 1 minute ring the bell rapidly for about 5 seconds. In a vessel of 100 meters or more in length, the bell shall be sounded in the forepart of the vessel, and immediately after the ringing of the bell, the gong shall be sounded rapidly for about 5 seconds in the after part of the vessel. A vessel at anchor may in addition sound 3 blasts in succession, namely 1 short, 1 prolonged, and 1 short blast to give warning of her position of the possibility of collision to an approaching vessel. A vessel aground shall give the bell signal and if required the gong signal prescribed in paragraph G of this rule, and shall in addition give 3 separate and distinct strokes in the bell immediately before and after the rapid ringing of the bell. A vessel aground may in addition sound an appropriate whistle signal. A vessel of 12 meters or more but less than 20 meters in length shall not be obliged to give the bell signals prescribed in paragraph G and H of this rule. However, if she does not, she shall make some other efficient sound signal at intervals of not more than 2 minutes. A vessel of less than 12 meters in length shall not be obliged to give the above-mentioned signals, but if she does not, shall make some other efficient sound signal at interval of not more than 2 minutes, and pilot vessel when engaged on pilotage duty may, in addition to the signals prescribed in paragraph A, B, or G of this rule, sound on an identity signal consisting of 4 short blasts. Next is rule number 36, signals to attract attention. If necessary, to attract the attention of another vessel, any vessel may make light or sound signals that cannot be mistaken for any signal authorized elsewhere in these rules, or may direct the beam of her searchlight in the direction of the danger in such a way as not to embarrass any vessel. Any light to attract the attention of another vessel shall be such that it cannot be mistaken for any aid to navigation. For the purpose of this rule, the use of high-intensity intermittent or revolving lights such as strobe lights shall be avoided. Next is rule number 37, distress signals. When a vessel is in distress and requires assistance, she shall use or exhibit the signals described in Annex 4 to these regulations. Next is rule number 38, exemptions. Any vessel or class of vessels, provided that she complies with the requirements of the International Regulation for Preventing Collision at Sea, 1960, the keel of which is lead or which is at a corresponding stage of construction, construction before the entry into force of this regulation may be exempted from compliance therewith as follows. The installation of lights with ridges prescribed in Rule 22 until 4 years after the date of entry into force of these regulations. The installation of lights with color specifications as prescribed in Section 7 of Annex 1 to these regulations until 4 years after the date of entry into force of these regulations. The repositioning of lights as a result of conversion from imperial to metric units and rounding of measurement figures, permanent exemption. The repositioning of masthead lights on vessel of less than 150 meters in length resulting from the prescriptions of Section 3A of Annex 1 to these regulations, permanent exemption. The repositioning of masthead lights on vessel of 150 meters or more in length resulting from the prescriptions of Section 3E of Annex 1 to these regulations until 9 years after the date of entry into force of this regulation. The repositioning of masthead lights resulting from the prescription of Section 2B of Annex 1 to this regulation until 9 years after the date of entry into force of this regulation. The repositioning of side lights resulting from the prescription of Section 2G and Section 3B of Annex 1 to this regulation until 9 years after the date of entry into force of these regulations. The requirements for sound signal appliances prescribed in Annex 3 to these regulations until 9 years after the date of entry into forces of this regulation. The repositioning of all-round lights resulting from the prescription of Section 9B of Annex 1 to this regulation, permanent exemption. That's all. Thank you for listening.